Welcome back channel, train station 2. Alright, gotta pick up that pickaxe right now and start working. Alright, so this is the start of the new event at Quarry. So apparently you got to basically look at this whole event in the angle of what you want actually out of it, because for me it's always about the two legendaries, and of course if possible you'd like to get all the trains like the epic, rare and common and special building, but I think generally besides that is basically what you really want to get out of it would be the amount of gold and parts as well. So some people may think that they will want to give up in terms of the trains and get the parts and gold. Yeah, I think by all means go for that. So I think this is a decision you have to make. Starting late will be the key to winning, so always emphasize on this. Do not lock in the game before the start of competition, at least for 10 to 12 hours. So starting late itself, apparently you will not be meeting really tough competitors, because all the excited tough competitors, they would like to start on time. The fact that by not starting on time, you are meeting with a group of probably free-to-play players. Okay, so generally I'm a free-to-play, so that's what I meant, not to fight with the pay-to-win, because there's no way you can do that. Okay, let's go towards this really interesting map. I think if you take a look at the event map itself, you realize actually it's quite interesting. There's a whole big query after all. Very quickly, let's enter into the event map and I just discuss on that. So if you enter the query, you can see a very beautiful query itself, and of course you click on the individual contractors, you get to see some of the message they have for you. For example, the one that actually asks you to pick up the X that's doing the work. Alright, so if you come to this query progression, you realize actually in order to get the other raw material, you need to finish that draw of 5 numbers. So that's really killing me, because you can't be stuck with just one raw materials, because there are many other event items that require the other raw materials to do. So the other thing to do winning is also about upgrading your event factory. So I'll always stand by about 110 gems to make up 2 upgrades. You can see here currently there are already 2 more additional slots, so that's one other tip for you. So besides starting late, you gotta spend 110 gems to upgrade your factories, so that's the things you gotta do. Of course, remember, collect your gold, because that happens a couple of hours or 4 hours late. The other tip for you would be, if you want to collect more gold, there are 2 ways about this. One, I mean, you can use the innovation center to increase the gold collection, or actually you can increase the capacity of the train of legendary type. That what allows you to collect more gold, because assuming you're using a legendary to collect them. So I would rather use the innovation center for increasing the capacity of the legendaries, because it serves 2 purposes: 1, collection of gold; 2, delivery and collection of raw materials and whatnot. And vis-a-vis the other one that you actually just spent for increase the production or collection of gold, I think that's something that I wouldn't want to go into that just alone, because it could be wasting bucks or the season dollars that is very hard to earn after all. So this is something you got to bear in mind. So this is the third tip per se. So as I said, start late as one. You really have to start late, that's for sure. And of course, tip number 2, as I mentioned again, is 110 gems to upgrade this factory. And third tip I just mentioned would be to use the innovation center to increase the capacity of your legendary trains that serve both for collection of gold and raw materials and whatnot. So these are the few things you have to take note. And of course, along the way, you could also upgrade the other train types if you got enough of those bucks or the Union dollars. This is where I obtain the Union dollars by winning in competitions in the Union, and of course as part of the Unions is a teamwork effort, so sometimes you're lucky and you get more of it. Okay, so it's a way fair, because not only lucky you win as a team, but rather it also contributes based on number of contributions you made towards winning. They'll give you a fair amount of the reward itself. Okay, so with this event, initially definitely they're asking for a non event items. Gradually you'll be facing really tough ones, I believe, in asking for event items with a huge quantity. So make sure you build lots of whatever you could right now. I would say now the dynamite itself, I think, is the items I'll be building a lot, because I think we able to get the raw materials for that, as well as the iron powder, which just takes a while to make. So in that context, this is the only thing we can do right now. And of course, once we unlocked the other material, then I think more event items can be made. But at the flip side, the event will also start to ask for a huge amount of those event items. So it is dilemma sometimes, but nonetheless, prepare more of this now while you can, and later on you focus on the other event items. Okay, so the fourth tip I'm going to mention about warehousing problem. Warehousing problem is really very daunting. The fact that we have a small warehouse, where do I then gain more warehouse spaces? If you can see, for the non-event warehouse just now, or the factory just now, I've been storing the production, because I'm using that as additional warehousing for raw materials. Because once I store the production, anything I put into that factory would not work. They would just act as a storage. So there's the additional warehousing per se. So that's the fourth tip for you. Just very quickly take a look at the different towns and roads and whatever you can find. This map, they're really interesting. So it is some effort put in to look at the messages. It said, oh, there's the owner of the quarry, can't wait to get things started. All right, so let's see. How about this? This is a good day. New miner quarry, right? And I can say that I'm happy to see you here. All right, that's good. So that's Sharon for you. And of course, this one, it looks here. Hey, get to work, mate. Pick up the pickaxe right now. All right, so along the way, you'll have some exclamation mark happening. Click on those, you can get some items for free. And of course, sometimes you go to a video to watch, and you get some gold as well, or gold coins. The event coins, actually, not gold coins. All right, so that's the overall map in the quarry itself. In the region, the season itself, these are things you can do sometimes. Just contribute a bit in terms of the products they ask for in exchange for the seasons items. But during competition, rarely I'll play the seasons competitions, because that takes up two things: one, time, two, resources. So that's something good to fight, and contradicts with the competition. Actually, I do hope if they could, actually they should segregate the union competitions with the main event. So instead of throwing in those really silly mini games, they should allow us to have more time to play the seasons competitions separately from the main events itself. But of course, there will be another group of people who prefers to just not play the competitions in the event at all, and they will just focus on the season. So basically, that's the option given by Pixar. That's a choice. But for us, we are always towards events. So in that context, we're gonna forego one, and maybe that's the reason why some people would just want to concentrate into the seasons, because they know a lot of people want to have the efforts and time to contribute into the season's competitions, hence a higher chance of winning during such long events vis-a-vis the mini events. People will be concentrating on the season's competitions rather than mini events. So I think it's a strategy you're going to play on which end you sit and which union request, or the union boss request. So if you're really joining those strong unions, you'll be stressed to work out in terms of the union competitions. But if you are joining a very understanding union like ours, which don't really bother about the union competition at all during the main events, you can contribute as much as you can. We're really grateful, but otherwise it doesn't really matter. End of the day, it's a choice, it's a game, it's not a chore. So that's how it works. And of course, generally, this is the warehouse practice that we're making right now. So remove items and to carry on productions for certain items required. Sometimes, like see here, really happy you can finish that item. And along the way, we'll be getting more and more of those requests, and where we get more EP. You'll find competitors who are really fighting neck to neck with you sometimes. That's very frustrating, because it is very worrisome in terms that you can't get that 350 event coins, because the first three competitions are going to be something that you're going to really work towards, because as I mentioned earlier, they're the easiest. Alright, so I hope you have enjoyed this video, and do check out my IG, and I'm going to show you a bit